Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Hope you guys are having a great start to your Monday. And here you go, another edition of the Monday Market Report, this time for the week ending September 12th, 2021. I want to thank each and every single one of you for joining in for this video. It's been one of my mainstays. It's been actually a fan favorite as we talk about some of the most relevant post-1900 modern coins to have sold here in the last 7 days. And of course, our focus for this week is going to be GreatCollections.com as they continue to push out some of the most brilliant looking examples to date. And we're seeing it more apparent. There are two things that I'm actually observing from Great Collections. We're seeing them continue to soak up the market share of a lot of the more relevant, marquee pieces that do exist out there in U.S. coins. Furthermore, we're beginning to see more diversity in not only U.S. coins, but also the foreign coins and the currency listings on their website is beginning to kind of take shape. We're beginning to see a lot more premier pieces enter the marketplace, and everybody is using Great Collections because they have been, up to this point, one of the most reliable, if not more readily available auction houses out there that will take consignments and have them essentially working on your coin and turning the sale around within 3 to 4 weeks. That's kind of been like the average. I mean, they could always push it out for a lot longer, but they have been absolutely fantastic in terms of again, their overall amount of inventory that's available out there. As light as it's getting, supply is getting light as we head into the holidays. I have found a number of pieces to add to my collection. They just have not disappointed. And their back-end services with their grading, if you wanted them to grade your coins, they could certainly do that, along with the sales that exist on there for those buyers. They get your coins out right away. It's shipped, and generally you'll see it within 3 to 4 business days. Well, enough about that. I mean, they're a great service, and they are fantastic, but let's go ahead and focus on the coins that have sold this week. Now, like I had said, supply is quite short these days, and our Monday market report is a little bit shorter as a result. We have, 16 coins to talk about. That's a few less than what the norm is. I usually like to hit like 18 to 20 pieces, but this week we only have 16 to talk about. So without further ado, how about we go ahead and jump into the first coin. We have another 1970S. Doubled die obverse. This is, of course, the FS101 Lincoln Memorial Cent. This one has truly remarkable doubling on not only the date, but liberty, and also to probably the greatest extent right here on the motto, "In God We Trust." This is going to be one of those coins that you're going to try and find out. They're being found in not only BU rolls, but also in circulation. This one right here is a really nice graded mid-state 64 red through PCGS, and these only show up on large date examples. This particular example sold for $3,600, part of a cache that was discovered at one point here in the last few years. They can't have too many more of these available, and they show up probably maybe once every month or two. So that relatively infrequent. They're a little bit, I would say at this point, a little bit more common than the 69S double die, and that's just based on actual availability and population numbers. The next one that we have here is going to be our focal point coin of the week, and it's a coin that has certainly given me fits over the course of the last 10 years. Only because for the longest time, mid-state 67 examples of this coin never existed. 66 plus was always the top pop grade through PCGS. However, we have a mid-state 67 red example here, this time graded by NGC. So are we seeing NGC graded 67s of this particular date? By the way, it's a 63D. It's one of the most scarcest coins to find in this grade level. I don't know. I do know for a fact that PCGS graded examples do command more of a premium. This particular one right here in the 67 sold for $1,487.25, whereas PCGS graded examples, I believe the last example to have sold, I think in the 67 sold for around $3,600. So there is a quite a bit more premium for this coin through PCGS, only because it's bigger points in the registry set game. All right, so we haven't talked about a zinc-coated steel cent in quite a little while. There hasn't been too many that have popped up that needed, some special attention, but right here we have another one to talk about. It's a 43S this time. This one is a PCGS Mid-State 68. Keep in mind there are no color designations for this coin, which makes it an attractive target for cherry pickers. All right, so mid-state examples of any one of the three 43s that are out there, P, D, and S, are actually quite available in mid-state condition. Now, it's just going to be a matter of finding a really clean example that'll grade out really well, and that's where the biggest opportunity is going to be. This one is also CAC certified as well. It's got that extra amount of certification on there, and this one sold for $2,596.50. That's a really solid sale for this coin. All right, so the last three penny coins on the list are going to be relatively more difficult, high-grade specimens, and they are, of course, coins that exist during a time in which not too many coins were saved in mid-state condition. The Great Depression age was kind of, it was a very funny time. Everybody was spending their coins. They weren't really saving these things. The first one that we have here is the 1931D, a much tougher date than it looks like on its face. Check out the grade, however. It's a 65 red through PCGS. It's not some top-tier, premier 66 or 67 example. This is just 65. And more than likely, this is going to go into a registry set, but this particular coin is an example of what happens when supply is in short supply, I guess, when coins are in short supply of this type. When there are no 66s or 67s out there, and there hadn't been any within the last 6 months, then people will flock to coins like this. All right, and this particular coin right here sold for $1,548. While not an incredibly expensive coin, I mean, that's not bad for a 65. We could only imagine how much maybe a 66 would go for. I think those are right around $2,500 to $3,000 based off of previous sales. But they could get pretty ridiculous once they go past that. 1929, and it was actually the year of the Great Depression. All right, the stock market crash, actually, more appropriately than the actual Great Depression. The Great Depression lasted throughout the late 20s and into the 30s before World War II occurred. So, again, coins of this particular period in time are in short supply in mid-state condition. And finding them raw, good luck. I mean, if you're able to do that and they're in pretty decent shape, and I know a lot of people collect Lincoln cents as a series. They collect by dates. There are specific grade tiers that they target. And among the top of them are going to be full red examples of some of these more common 1920s coins. Anything Philadelphia is a true target. This one right here is a PCGS Mid-State 67 full red example. That's a stunner right there. And this one sold for $1,210.50. And then finally, one of my favorite varieties to look for is going to be the 1917 Lincoln Wheat Cent. This one is a doubled die obverse. A lot of the doubling is going to show on the date. You do have that little doubled tail. You got the oblong 9. You got the doubled 7, which is quite prominent on here. This is the area that has the strongest amount of doubling. And it shows really well all the way down to grades of good to VG. And then after that, they kind of flatten out. But you're also going to have a nice set of doubling in the motto, while not as crazy as that 1970S that we saw earlier in the show. This was one right here that is a constant target among cherry pickers. As you can see, the grade is not, something that's going to blow you away. I mean, the coin looks like it's circulated a good deal for over 100 years. This one right here is an AU55. Still has quite a bit of meat on the bones, and when I refer to that, it's really the overall design, has a lot of strength and, the minutia that's required of an about uncirculated example. Just a good looking coin right here. This one sold for $1,871.62. It's also FS101 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. We do have a few nickels to talk about. This one right here is a 55D. Of course, it's one of those coins that I talk about as being just the overall bane of a lot of Jefferson nickel enthusiasts, especially those that look out and seek those strong struck examples where you're going to have the full steps on Monticello. This one right here actually passed the grade. It does have that cool little wood grain look on the reverse, just kind of like a nod to the improper alloy mix that was, kind of came in and out of the Jefferson nickel series depending on date. This one right here is Mint State 65. It does designate full steps on there. And this one sold for $2,086.88. Here's a 1935 Buffalo nickel, albeit one of your more common dates that exist out there. And these are still findable out there in the world today, whether you're at a coin shop or at a show. These pop up in those little cardboard 2x2 holders. And this one right here is really nice. All right, you're going to have to try really hard to cherry pick a well-struck example of this date. It's a mid-state 67 plus. I mean, you can't get any better than that. It's great for a registry set. Personally, I wouldn't go out and invest in such a coin because these were the mintages were just plentiful. It's also CAC certified as well, and this one sold for $3,206.25, which is a really, really good amount of money for this date. In contrast, a 28S is an incredibly tough date to find in mint-state condition. Now, this one's not a 67 plus like the 35 that we saw before, but this one is as relevant, if not more relevant than the 35 that precedes it. This one right here also has some pretty nice clashing in certain areas underneath the chin. Is quite nice. This one's a mint-state 66, and that's through PCGS. It's also gold shielded. Really strong example right here. And this one sold for $10,406.25. All right, enough of the nickels. We're on to some dimes. And we actually have a Roosevelt dime to talk about. And this is a coin that even today can be found in a relatively inexpensive proof set. Now, proof sets of late have gone up in value. All right. These days we're seeing like little 5 to 10% jumps every few months. But over time, you begin to see the actual just movement of proof sets. And with good reason. People are looking for fresh, unsearched proof sets. And there's just not a lot of them out there to do so. These proof sets from about 56 to 64, where there's still 90% coinage or silver in there, tend to run anywhere from about $28 to $35. And this one right here is a beautiful example, probably the less desired out of the 5 coins in a proof set. This one here is a 1958 Proof 69 Ultra Cameo through NGC. It is a stunner, and again, if you guys have these sets from about 56 to 64, look out for Deep Cam or Ultra Cameo coins. That's where you're going to have the strong frosting on the devices, offset with that, or contrasted rather, with the dark kind of like, it looks like a very still lake, with not a drop, not a ripple, not a drop hitting the lake. It's just completely looks like glass. Beautiful coin, obviously registry set material all day long. This one sold for $1,437.75. The Mercury Dimes this week are actually quite pretty, but let's go ahead and start it off with a little bit of a grading error right here. Now, this is actually a 1945 Micro S Mercury Dime. Now, here's the big problem. This slab right here has a label that's showing 1943S, actually. It's a PCGS graded Mint State 68, so it's quite beautiful. This is a beautiful coin right here. And it's also CAC certified, and it has really nice toning on there. So obviously this coin would need to be sent back to PCGS and have the label retyped, which might actually make this coin worth a little bit more. As you can see, it does not have any sort of full bands on there. The bands on the reverse are non-existent. But the coloring is what really wins this coin over for a lot of toning collectors. This one right here is sold for $1,356.74. Beautiful coin. Now here's the one that'll shock a lot of you. A Mint State 69, 1939 Mercury Dime that does not have full bands on there, but check out the numerical grade. This has got to be one of the highest graded Mercury Dimes I have ever seen in the open market in recent memory. Now this one right here has a lot of original skin, okay, and that's just a little bit of oxidation that has built up on the coin over the years. It's not inoffensive, it's not wild or anything like that. It just shows that this coin has gone through many collections, I would imagine. Uncleaned, undipped. I mean, this is an all original coin here from the day it was minted. This one right here sold for $6,035.62, which kind of shows everyone that you could try and find these coins either in full bands or just finding a really clean high-end example. As you can see here, does not have full bands, but still commanded a ton of money. And here we go, the key date of key dates for the Mercury Dime series. We have a 16D, but this is a quite nice graded example. It's not a super high-end like Mint State 65 or 66, but how about a 63 with full bands? In addition, it's got some of the original toning that's probably built up over time. Just a great addition, and I would say that this is a great investment coin too. You don't see too many Mint State examples of the 16D pop up in the marketplace, and this one right here just so happens to finish here this week on Great Collections. This one sold for $17,451, again proving its status as one of the premier modern key dates in U.S. coins. Definitely a great coin to invest or add to your collection. Now, America the Beautiful quarters have grabbed a little bit of headlines here in the last few months. Okay, if it's not the West Point 2019s and 2020s, of course, there are a few just absolutely amazing coins that really did not survive in high grades. The Hawaii Volcanoes is one of them. Extremely low mintage. You'd be hard-pressed to find any of these out there that's going to look as presentable and as clean as this one here. This one is actually a coin from the Erasmus Hall Washington Quarter registry set. And this week, they were actually selling through Mr. Hall's ATB quarters. So there was quite a few of those, but this is the big standout for the week. The Hawaii Volcanoes is graded PCGS Mint State 68. It's a coin that you wouldn't normally see on the list, but this one right here did sell for $1,040.62. Again, this is more a registry set coin than anything else. Last few quarters are just beautiful. Now, we have a 62, which, as we know, is one of the more tougher dates to find high-graded examples. This one is a Mint State 67 Plus through NGC. It's also CAC certified, so you got that little green sticker on the label there. The toning's nice. I mean, there's a little bit of pastel, kind of like rainbow hues on the periphery of the coin. The back is blast white, so this could either have been a roll ender at one point, or it could have been in an album. It just didn't tone that reverse. again, a registry set coin, any 1960s Washington quarter that's 90% silver, has always been a rarity in high grades like this. So anything 67 and up are tough coins. This one sold for $3,768.75. And then finally, when we're talking toning, all right, the coin doesn't necessarily have to be a top pop grade to be worth a boatload of cash. We have a 1957, which I will tell you, this quarter, this Washington quarter, exists, I believe, in Mid-State 68 as the top end grade. If not that, a 67 plus. But where really this one shines is going to be just an amazing, nebulous, just out of this world color, especially on the obverse of the coin. The overall projection of the colors and the photography on this one really do this one justice. It's a 66, and that's it. I mean, it's, you know, if it's not toned, this is a $100 coin. All right, maybe even less than that, because it's quite common in Mid-State 66 for the grade, or for the date rather. But again, we've seen deep cameo, ultra cameo proofs. We've seen varieties that you can make money off of. We've also seen high graded specimens that are top pops. We've also seen tone coins that have just exploded in value based off of the overall general eye appeal. This one, ladies and gentlemen, sold for $1,266.75. And then again, that's another good way to, you know, really seek out some of these coins. It doesn't all have to be, you know, top pop, you know, Mid-State 68 examples or anything like that. You can really diversify where you want to search and what you're searching for. But that's going to go ahead and do it again for this week. As you can see, a very, very abbreviated list of coins, but they're all fantastic. It just shows the strength of the market, and I'm actually awaiting to see how the market shapes up in the months of like October and November, you know, because those are generally the most active. They're the most exciting times of coinage per year. And yeah, I just can't state enough. The market continues to forge forward. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to go ahead and do it. Do you have a favorite coin on the list? I would love to hear about it. Don't forget to like, share, or subscribe if you haven't done any of those before. And feel free to dislike it. If you don't like me or the content, you know, feel free to do so. Any sort of engagement matters. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to go ahead and do it. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. As always, Coinaholics, we are discovering together. You guys take care. Have a great Monday. Don't work so hard. And I will see you on the next coin video. So long.